I'm going to tell you something that the police don't believe, that my therapist thinks I imagined, and that I wish more than anything wasn't true. It happened 3 months ago in Phoenix, Arizona. I was there for a tech conference. One of those massive 3-day events where you shake 500 hands, collect 1,000 business cards, and forget everyone's name by the time you get on your flight home. I worked for a cybersecurity firm in Seattle, and these conferences were a necessary evil. Networking was part of the job. The final day ended around 9 p.m. The closing keynote had run long, and by the time I made it back to my hotel room to grab my things, I was exhausted. My flight wasn't until the next morning, so I'd planned a quiet night. Grab dinner somewhere nearby, get some sleep, and head to the airport by 6. But the hotel restaurant was closed. Room service had ended at 8. And the vending machine on my floor was out of everything except off-brand pretzels. I decided to take an Uber to a late-night diner I'd seen on Google Maps. A place about 15 minutes away that had decent reviews and was open until midnight. Nothing fancy. Just eggs and coffee and maybe a slice of pie. I ordered the ride at 11:07 p.m. The app told me my driver's name was Marcus. He was driving a gray Honda Accord, license plate 7XTV829. He had a 4.89 rating and over 2,000 rides completed. His profile photo showed a heavy-set white man, maybe late 40s, with a receding hairline and a friendly smile. He arrived in 4 minutes. I walked out of the hotel lobby and spotted the car immediately, gray Accord, right plate number, waiting in the pickup zone. The driver waved at me through the window. I got in the back seat, confirmed my name and destination, and we pulled away. Everything seemed normal. For the first few minutes, Marcus was chatty in that way Uber drivers often are. Asked about the conference. Made small talk about Phoenix weather. Mentioned he'd lived in the city his whole life, knew every shortcut. "I'll get you there quick," he said. "Main roads are packed this time of night. I know a better way." I wasn't really paying attention. I was scrolling through emails on my phone, half listening, exhausted down to my bones. That's why it took me longer than it should have to notice something was wrong. We'd been driving for about 10 minutes when I looked up and realized we were nowhere near where we should be. The diner was in central Phoenix. Busy streets, neon signs, traffic. But outside my window, I saw nothing but dark industrial buildings, chain-link fences, and empty lots. The streetlights were sparse. There were no other cars. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice casual, "I think the GPS took us the wrong way." Marcus glanced at me in the rearview mirror. His expression hadn't changed, same friendly half-smile, but something about his eyes felt different. Colder. "Just avoiding traffic," he said. "Trust me. I know the city." I looked at my phone. The Uber app showed us on the correct route, the little car icon moving steadily toward the diner. But that wasn't possible. The streets outside didn't match the map. We were somewhere else entirely. My stomach tightened. "I think I'd rather take the main roads," I said. "If you could just..." "We're almost there." His voice was flat now. The friendliness was gone. I reached for the door handle. Subtly I thought. Just a test. It didn't move. I pulled harder. Nothing. Child locks. He'd engaged the child locks. "The doors stick sometimes," Marcus said, watching me in the mirror. "Old car. Don't worry about it." I wasn't worried anymore. I was terrified. I tried to pull up 911 on my phone. Pressed the emergency call button. Held the phone to my ear. Nothing. No ring. No connection. Just silence. I looked at the screen. No service. Not even one bar. That wasn't possible. I'd had full signal inside the hotel. Phoenix had excellent coverage. There was no reason. And then I saw it. Plugged into the car's USB port, nestled between the front seats, was a small black device. Nondescript, about the size of a deck of cards. A tiny red light blinked on its surface. I recognized it immediately. A signal jammer. I worked in cybersecurity. I knew exactly what that device was and exactly what it meant. It was illegal. It was deliberate. And it meant I was trapped in a car with no way to call for help. My hands started shaking. Marcus was still driving, still watching me in the rearview mirror. We turned down another dark street, then another. The buildings around us grew more dilapidated. Graffiti on the walls. Broken windows. No signs of life anywhere. I tried to think. Tried to focus through the panic. The windows. I could break the windows. But with what? I didn't have anything heavy enough. And even if I did, we were moving too fast. I'd hurt myself trying to jump. The driver. I could attack the driver. But he was bigger than me and he had control of the vehicle. If I startled him, we could crash. I needed to get him to stop. I needed an opportunity. Where are you taking me? I asked. My voice came out steadier than I expected. Marcus met my eyes in the mirror. For a long moment he didn't answer. Then he smiled. You're the fourth one this month who noticed, he said. The words hit me like a physical blow. I felt the blood drain from my face. The fourth one? I whispered. Most people don't pay attention, he said conversationally, as if we were discussing the weather. They're on their phones. Tired. Distracted. They don't notice when the route changes. They don't notice the locks. They don't notice anything until it's too late. He turned down another street. We were approaching what looked like a warehouse district. Dark buildings loomed on either side. I couldn't see any other cars. Any other people. But some people pay attention, he continued. Some people get nervous. Start asking questions. Those are the ones who make it interesting. Make what interesting? I asked. He didn't answer. We pulled into a lot behind a large warehouse. The headlights illuminated a rusted garage door, graffiti-covered walls, piles of debris. He put the car in park but left the engine running. End of the line, he said. I had seconds to act. I lunged forward, reaching between the front seats, and yanked the signal jammer from the USB port. I didn't know if it would make a difference, if my phone would reconnect fast enough, but I had to try. Marcus grabbed my arm. His grip was like iron. Nice try, he said. I twisted, using my other hand to gouge at his face. My fingernails caught his cheek, drawing blood. He swore and his grip loosened just enough for me to pull free. I threw myself against the back window. Once. Twice. On the third impact I felt something crack. Not the glass, my shoulder, but I kept going. I grabbed the headrest of the front seat and used it to brace myself as I kicked at the window with both feet. The glass shattered. I didn't hesitate. I dove through the broken window, feeling glass tear at my clothes, my skin. I hit the ground hard, rolled, and scrambled to my feet. I ran. I ran without looking back, through the warehouse lot, around the corner of a building, down a street I didn't recognize. Behind me I heard a car door slam. Footsteps on gravel. He was following. I ducked into an alley, pressing myself against a wall, trying to quiet my breathing. My phone was still in my hand. I looked at the screen. One bar. One beautiful, miraculous bar. I dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? I've been kidnapped, I gasped. An Uber driver. Phoenix. Warehouse district. I don't know where exactly. I broke out of the car. He's chasing me? Ma'am, stay on the line. I'm dispatching units now. Can you describe your surroundings? I looked around, trying to find anything identifiable. A street sign. A building name. Anything. That's when I heard the footsteps again. Closer now. Just around the corner. I stopped talking. Stopped breathing. A shadow fell across the entrance to the alley. I know you're here, Rachel. He knew my name. Of course he did. It was on the Uber account. This doesn't have to be difficult, he said. His voice was calm. Patient. Like he had all the time in the world. The others made it difficult too. It doesn't help. I pressed myself deeper into the shadows, phone still clutched against my chest. The dispatcher was saying something, I couldn't hear what, but I didn't dare respond. Marcus stepped into the alley. He was maybe 20 feet away. The darkness hid my face, but it hid his too. I couldn't see his expression. Could only see the shape of him blocking my only exit. There you are. He started toward me. And then lights. Blinding lights washing over us both as a police cruiser turned into the alley, siren blaring to life. Marcus froze. For one eternal second we just stood there, him caught in the headlights like a deer, me pressed against the wall, shaking so hard I could barely stand. Then he ran. He vaulted over a dumpster and disappeared into the maze of buildings beyond. The police gave chase, but I already knew they wouldn't catch him. He knew this area. He'd brought people here before. They found the car. In the trunk they found zip ties, duct tape, a tarp, a toolbox containing items I refused to let them describe to me. They also found a phone. Not the driver's, an older burner phone with a cracked screen. It contained videos. The detective who interviewed me, a tired woman named Gutierrez with gray at her temples and shadows under her eyes, told me they were still analyzing the contents. She said they'd found evidence of at least 3 previous victims. She said Marcus wasn't his real name. She said the real driver's photo had been doctored, his identity stolen, his account hacked. She said they'd find him. That was 3 months ago. They still haven't. I don't take rideshares anymore. I don't take cabs. I barely drive my own car without checking the mirrors every 30 seconds. without scanning every face in every vehicle that pulls up beside me. I've read articles about rideshare safety. Always check the license plate. Always confirm the driver's name and photo. Always share your trip with a friend. I did all of those things. The license plate matched. The photo matched. The name matched. And I was still almost victim number 4. The detective called me last week. They'd found another victim, a woman in Tucson who matched the same pattern. She wasn't as lucky as me. She didn't notice the wrong route. She didn't see the signal jammer. She didn't come home. They think he's working his way across the Southwest. Phoenix, Tucson. Maybe Albuquerque next. Maybe El Paso. A new city every few weeks. A new identity. A new hunting ground. If you ever take a rideshare late at night, please, pay attention. Watch the route. Check the door handles before you close them. And if something feels wrong, if anything feels even slightly off, trust your gut. Get out. Whatever it takes, get out. Because the person driving you might not be who they claim to be. And by the time you realize that, it might already be too late.